God bless golf, everybody. Welcome back to episode 6 of God Bless Golf, the podcast that everybody's asking about right now. We're going to jump right into it. Just a little funny story. We tried to do this podcast the last 2 days, and because I am not a genius with a computer, we couldn't figure out a little sound issue. So I apologize for everybody that was really looking forward to our Bay Hill Invitational recap. We're going to go right into the TPC because right now, as we currently sit Thursday morning, the boys are out there at Sawgrass. There's some weather coming in. There's a lot of things going on right now. So we're just going to hit right away, go right into the TPC. To my left, my partner in crime, Richie Spice, Richie Stapleton. God bless golf, buddy. Talk to me. How we doing?
I mean, I'm doing all right. I know was doing all right earlier when I took a peek, and I think there's a couple other guys getting out there hot this morning. I don't know what the weather's like down there, but certainly windy can be up here in Atlanta. And I don't know if that's coming to you or what they got going on, but heard some rufflings last night about that was going to be an issue. So you're obviously a little closer. It looks sunny on TV here to my view, but what's it like down there right now? What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm making my way up this afternoon, still in Orlando here, thanks to our production staff, which is me,
Thank
not
you.
being able to get out of town any earlier. But anyway, right now in Orlando, it definitely has the feel like wind's coming. It's definitely a little pre-hurricane tropical storm-ish as far as the temperature. It's certainly not windy like that, but there's definitely some storms out there, and I would imagine that everybody is on this side of the draw for the players is they're definitely making out better today because I think this afternoon it's going to be tough. Shout out to a couple guys. Mav McNeely, 4 under through 10. Fleetwood just shot 4 under on the front. Ricky Castillo, Florida Gator, JC Deacon, shout out. Fresh off another win, just shows up. That guy looks like he just looks like a stone cold killer. Certainly got that dog in him, national championship, et cetera, et cetera. He's off to a hot start. Victor Hovland's off to a hot start. Unfortunately for Colin Morikawa, the second hole of the day, during a practice swing, getting ready to hit his tee ball, made a motion, grabbed that part of his back that's never good when you see that, and has withdrew. So for those that had big money on Colin Morikawa, I don't think you're getting your money back. So unfortunately, he is
The early
out.
side.
Yeah, he is out. To what Spice said, Justin Thomas, our Toddler Zone Award winner for last week, and we'll get into that. Clearly didn't need to practice at Bay Hill, went home and showed up at Sawgrass and birdied the first 3 holes today. I think he just finished the front 9 at 1 under. Akshay and Berger, 1 under front sides, obviously still in form. Scheffler's 1 under. Brooks Koepka currently 1 under through 10. Obviously, by the time this show posts, there'll be some final scores, and so be some guys playing in the afternoon, and we'll look at some of those guys. I know Rory, everybody's wondering how that's going to go. He's got a late afternoon tee time. I know Adam Scott um, is playing this afternoon, as well as guys like JJ Spawn, Griffin, Bidgman, Kurt Kitayama, our guy Kurt, Sepp Straka, Ricky Fowler. So for those that are in the car on their way out, by the time you're listening to this, it'll probably be tomorrow. But for those guys, hopefully you find a place to park and have a great time. I think, in my opinion, the weather stays under 83, 84 degrees with a breeze. It's wonderful for the patrons and really hard for the players, which, the fans like that too. Pretty excited, as you can tell, as a First Coast guy. Just a great tournament. I don't call it a major because it's not a major, but this is a big one. And Richie, I
Yep.
know we had been going back and forth over the last couple of days about people you liked. I don't remember you saying Morikawa, but I would give you a pass if you did. Who are we liking this week now that you know the early late is probably going to be the best draw?
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about what you're thinking.
I think anytime I'm on the First Coast down there, anytime I've ever played in an event or when I was working down at one of the local clubs there once upon a time back when we first met, actually, the weather is the first thing I think about. And so who plays great in the weather? And then after hearing some things last night about the draw, Rory going into maybe a weather delay coming into afternoon, then picking up back in the morning, right? His back's going to be an issue. I think I like the guys that hit it low this week, right? And so the Lowry coming off a little bit of a heartbreak a couple weeks ago. I told you to watch out for him. I think I'm literally looking at the leaderboard watching guys like Jake Knapp and Sunjay M who hit at a mile in the air, and they'll probably turn around and shoot 4 under. So place your bets now, but they're currently 1 over.
Yeah, you
I
can't
just
go
can't.
over. You can't go over the wind here. I like going over
Right,
the wind
exactly.
sometimes, but this ain't the place for that.
So anybody who can keep it below the stadium height, below the pine level, as I like to call it, I think those are your guys. Guys who Russell Henley's, I think he's something to look out for. Um, he's kind of one of those players that can just kind of drive the golf ball through it all.
Corey Connors. Corey
Corey
Connors is
Connors.
late afternoon.
Oh, right. So a little draw there too kind of helps penetrate the wind. So those are my kind of initial thoughts. You got to have the hottest putter this week. I'm sure the greens are going to be phenomenal, but I think obviously everybody's kind of honing in on what they're going to do.
Yeah, I think the greens are, like I said, our first crack at this show yesterday, we were talking about the greens. I can remember one of the years when it was in May, like the year Henrik Stenson won, where he just basically just rolled his ball on the tee and just smoked hybrid everywhere because once it landed, it was going 60 yards. That's hard to do in March. And then with the moisture that's in the air and possibly coming in, or not possibly, it's coming. How much rain it gets is always a kind of a crapshoot because where TPC sits is just east of the Intercoastal. As us locals up there call it the ditch. And when you're on the east side of the ditch and the storm's coming across, sometimes it kind of rides the Intercoastal up to the northern side of the state, up near the St. Johns River, and gets hammered. When the storm is coming from the ocean is when TPC gets it the worst. Not saying it's not going to happen, but I'm a little optimistic about the weather today and this weekend. It will play a factor. Elements usually do. This will be the exact opposite of dome golf, which people like talking about. This will not be dome golf, folks. And it's a classic Pete Dye. You got to think your way around. Every shot is not the same. So just super excited. Yes, exactly. As far as weather, sorry, I'm looking at the updated. Hearing this a little later, but
it's funny you talk about it too. Ricky Castillo's up here at the top of the leaderboard almost after winning a windswept Puerto Rico, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think.
A-Bird.
Yeah, and truthfully, I just did a quick look at the weather map. I think Orlando is going to get it worse than Jacksonville. So,
well, that's probably good for the tournament.
Yeah, my prediction is this wind is blowing. I guess you would call it a west wind blowing directly into the ocean. So the waves will be good for anybody wanting to surf in the First Coast this weekend. But that creates some interesting winds on 17. If I'm doing my compass right, 17 should be playing hard left to right, which, man, yes, I think.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I don't have my, but if I'm thinking where I'm standing, I'm on the 17th tee. I'm pretty sure the ocean is to my right. So you got a hard cross. So you're going to be, I don't know what they're going to play it today. I don't know if you saw a scorecard of what the number is today.
Haven't seen it
but
yet.
Let's just say it's 140.
Okay.
If you play a cut, you are literally going to have to aim in the water. And if you play a draw, you're going to have to aim in the middle of the green and hope. Man, it's going to be good.
Is pin location day one? It's about to come up on my screen here, I think. But is it day one? Is it lower? Or
no, the hole in one lower be better than most is usually a Friday pin. Okay, but sometimes on Fridays that's not true. Friday they like putting it in the back.
Hold on, I'm about to see it.
I bet it's front today. You're right, Spice. I bet it's
front.
And
then back left tomorrow, and then front left third.
Well, yes, back left seems more of a Saturday-ish. Sunday, we know where that's going to be. Yeah, I mean, they flip it around, but you're right. It is probably front today. I don't know. Why don't you pull that up while I'm blabbing away about who we're looking at? And while you're doing that, quick shout out Live Golf, all you Live Golf fans, Hong Kong. Go ahead and look at that leaderboard.
Oh, man.
It's pretty good, 1 through 10, and it kind of bums me out that those 10 guys and a few others aren't playing this weekend because you can say what you want, and I don't really care as far as those takes. You can have your takes, and you're right to your opinion. It doesn't affect me one way or the other, but if you look at the guys that are playing in Live, could you imagine right now being out there following John Rahm, Bryson, Tyrrell Hatton, obviously Anthony Kim? Maybe one day he would make it out, but if Anthony Kim was available to go watch, we all know we'd be going to watch him play.
1,000%.
Dustin Johnson, I think, shot 2 or 3 under yesterday. Richard Lee is tied for the lead. Lee Westwood, Bryson, John Rahm, Louis Oosthuizen, the greatest swing I've ever seen. Terrell Hatton, Charles Howell III, Tringali, Leishman, Matt Wolff, Dietrich, Ortiz, Cam Smith, former winner of the TPC.
Right.
I mean, that's your
One of
top
the best
12.
players in the world.
That's your top 12. I didn't even mention Joaquin Niemann. And, there's a bunch of other guys that are kind of older, the Graham McDowell's, Paul Casey's. But if Graham McDowell was out there playing, there'd be people watching. I don't know if he'd keep his card by now. But then you got Varner, DJ. So you can say what you want about the LIV is just a couple of guys. There's a lot of guys. And I promise you, if they were in the field this week, you would be watching them. And there's a bunch of guys that are in the betting odds that would not be Jake Knapp wouldn't be 40-1 if those 9 guys in there. He'd be 75 or 80-1. So again, I'm not here to fix it, but if you like golf, which we do because our show is called God Bless Golf, you should check out this Hong Kong golf course. Pick a guy. There's no way you don't like all of those guys. They're a bunch of cool dudes, and they're good at golf, like really good, like insanely stupid good, like anybody you're going to watch this weekend. So shout out LIV. Anthony Kim, keep it going. We're a big fan of everything you're about right now and what you've done. And it's just there's a lot of guys that have gone through stuff and been out there. And I'm not saying AK is the only one. And, sometimes if you get yourself in a hole, digging yourself out is even more impressive. So we're big fans of everything that has to do with that. So
absolutely.
Shout out LIV. Aces are rolling. And, Anthony Kim is back and it makes it fun. So, speaking of LIV, we're going to kind of segue into the PGA Tour Commissioner, Rolap, I think his last name is, spoke yesterday.
2 Ps.
Yeah, Rolap with 2 Ps. I don't know if that means you're rich, probably. Right, I think it does. But anyway, he had a lot to say. There was a lot of questions asked from the media, a lot of good questions, but a lot of kind of baiting questions, certainly questions that he wasn't going to flat out come out and answer. My first thought is this big news is just media filler. Fans just want good golf, right? Like the fans aren't going to be walking around the course talking about what Brian Rolap said and, oh, how terrible is it this guy who has a NetJets thing on his sleeve might not get to play in all the Elevate events. And you're right about that. Nobody cares about that. Like nobody's talking about it. The players,
well, there's a lot of the players do.
The players care because that's their.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the general fan that's walking around this weekend, either at TPC or playing with their buddies right now on the golf course in a playing Scotch Wolf, they're not saying so. Oh man, can you believe that so and so might get relegated and there's going to be these B events, this, that, and the other? I think if you're attached to a tour event, either you're a sponsor, or maybe it's, it comes to a town that you're used to making money. And when it comes to town, those people do care because I think there were some things said that are, probably stirring some conversation among big sponsors. But at the end of the day, and Richie, I'd love to hear your thought on this. This CEO, Brian Rolap, his obligation is to the people that are funding this tour. Yes, all the players, he wants to do right by them, but his number one goal is to get as much money as possible.
I think he's going to fail in that aspect big time and here's why. Because the number one goal is to get people out there, and the number one goal is to get your sponsors seen. I totally agree. But when the game or the event is over at 5 p.m. on a Friday because you chose to go down to 120 guys out of the top 200 in the world, you've just lost 2.5 hours of beer, sponsor opportunity, TV opportunity, and beer. And it happened while we were on property at Bay Hill, and I saw the tweets. And it's going to happen in these short events. And so when you do go to the mid-market or you do go to a big market, especially if you go to a big market, right, you want more people in the seats, in the stands, TV on, streaming, not private streaming, CBS, all the way to 7 o'clock at night. And you're not going to get that. Golf tournaments will be over at 5. And oh, by the way, golf's over in September. And that's it. And then you're going to just send the rest of the guys to California. I think this is a formula for disaster. I mean, and I'm probably the only one who thinks that.
I doubt it, but well, you could be. You have had some original thoughts before, but that's a great take.
It's a little spicy take, man.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I feel very strongly about it because I'm the guy who caddied for some of those borderline guys who are now playing in that back 60 to 120 or 120 to 150. But if you're 141st on the PGA Tour in week 7 and you make 2 or 3 cuts, you can't tell me that you don't deserve to be in the players or that you don't deserve to be in an event. Anybody, any given Sunday, this guy's an NFL guy, right? Okay, any given Sunday then, if it's not rigged, which, that's questionable as well,
I wish
Then I
somebody would
want to know
rant
if
for the
any given
Dolphins.
day anybody can beat anybody in golf. And I've
Yes.
made bets before where I couldn't beat somebody for a year 4 times, and I may have beat him exactly 4 times, but it's hard to beat people. We probably played 75 rounds of golf. So it can happen, and limiting the fields only limits the fan experience, it limits sponsor exposure, and it reduces your income on site. And so I think all those are poor decisions.
Okay. Wow, that's fantastic, Richie. Yesterday on our practice show, I guess, we were talking about and Richie is definitely where he's coming from, certainly is from a player's side. It's probably coming from a player that nobody even knows, which doesn't make it right. But like the leaderboard that I just read off of Live, you're telling me the PGA Tour wouldn't be drooling if all those guys were here? It
Could you
doesn't
imagine
matter.
if AK was on property this week, shooting 69 in the first round?
DJ or Bryson? I mean,
right.
It's kind of one of those things where is it more important that it's kind of like, and it's not the same, but like from the college football playoff, okay, if you're a committee and you're only allowed to pick 5 teams and Alabama is one of the teams you get to pick, that's good for football, right? Now, if you can't pick them, you can't pick them, and you're bringing in, some other team who's way better, like this last year, Indiana. If there was whatever the playoff was,
They're about
Indiana,
to get wet, by the way.
Yeah, Indiana could have beaten Alabama by 60 if they wanted to. They weren't even in the same planet. Just like, and I don't know why I keep saying Jake Knapp, but it's a cool name. I like saying it. Like Jake Knapp would probably beat Graham McDowell in a 4-day PGA Tour event if they had to play all 4 rounds, by 15, 16 shots maybe, right? Not that Graham can't do it, but just say if they went and played 4 straight days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that number's way off. But the point is, from a tour standpoint, they're like, okay, this guy's better. He's got to be out there. But from Joe Public, who's paying, you wouldn't even believe the prices they're charging to get in, or a secondary market. So a guy shows up today and pays $247 to get into the Players because he wants to be there. Maybe he knows 5 golfers. It doesn't even matter, right? He's out there. But you know who he doesn't know? Smotherman, Bridgman, Ryerson, all these guys that are
really
awesome
good
at golf. Goddard. Like there's nobody like, and these guys are incredible. We love them, right? We love them. We know how good they are. But I think this sport from an entertainment side is becoming what do we do? What do we do? What I said and predicted, and I'll put this on record, however many years ago when Live started, I said this is like the greatest UWE-ish scenario.
Mm-hmm. Sure, absolutely.
5-6 years from now, which was whenever it started, they're all going to come back together, and it's going to be like this celebration. It's kind of like for all you country music listeners at like the Florida-Georgia line, right? Florida-Georgia line, they sing a bunch.
Right?
Okay, well, okay. Yeah. So Florida stayed in Florida, and Georgia went to Georgia. I don't know what they did for a few years. Neither one of them. I mean, obviously one guy, the Georgia guy, can really sing. Okay, that guy's got a great voice. But when he goes out and says, hey, it's Joe Smith, nobody knows who that is. But if they say, hey, we're going to see Florida-Georgia line, me who doesn't, I'm just not jamming country music. I like Dwight Yoakam and Hank Williams, stuff like that. But I'd be like, oh yeah, I've heard of them. Let's go see them. But if you're like, hey, this guy used to be in this band, that's not the same interest. So guess what? Florida-Georgia's back. They're going to be selling out. They're going to make so much money. And I know those jets are expensive. So maybe that's one of the reasons why they needed to get act together. But that's what the people want. All of us want that. All of us want to go to a golf tournament that I'm spending $250 on. I want to see the showcase of golf across the world.
Right.
I promise you, there's nobody in Hong Kong today going, well, I sure wish Rory was here, because you know what? Live, they said who they were when they started, and they've never looked back. They never mentioned the PGA Tour. Meanwhile, all the PGA Tour does is kind of do little things like copying what Liv did. I mean, Ludacris did a concert a couple nights ago, which I'm sure
he kind of copied him with some of his comments last night.
Right? That's right.
Okay, I was just making sure I was hearing the same thing, because I was like, you got to be kidding me, bro. And we know you can't rig a golf ball unless you got some kind of microchip in or something I don't know about.
Yeah, and Liv has a lot of good ideas, and Liv never once said, we're trying to be the PGA Tour. And the PGA Tour was saying, well, Liv will never be this. Well, they never wanted to be.
Right,
and that's a conversation for a lot of people to have. There's a lot of guys that are on a lot of shows that are clearly connected to the PGA Tour, and maybe it does really bother them that of all the things that goes on in that country, which sure, it's their own country, they can do what they want. There's nothing I'm going to say or anybody on Golf Channel is going to say to make that change that. Once we get past that, it's golf. It's guys in golf playing golf in a country where they're in Hong Kong right now. You're telling me those fans aren't having a great time? And do you
Oh,
think
I can
they
only
care?
imagine.
You think they care what Brendel Chambly thinks about whether this is a good tournament? A guy that, clearly he was on tour. I mean, he won some stuff, played in the Masters. I'm not knocking this guy's career, but he's not as good as any of these guys. He's not even close.
Not even close, yeah.
So anyway, it is interesting that back and forth between the PGA Tour and the LIV, and I don't want to say back and forth because it's not back and forth. It's the PGA Tour saying a bunch of LIV stuff, and LIV is saying this is what we do. And it is what it is. Should be a hell of a tournament for those guys. For everybody that loves golf, and if you're gonna be able to watch golf until dark at Sawgrass, and then you flip on Fox Sports 1 or wherever it is, wherever you find your LIV, just like wherever you find this podcast. Shout out to everybody listening, by the way. Please subscribe and sign up, send us messages, all the things that you're supposed to do. Do those things because we appreciate everything that our listeners have said and responded so far. But, end on that note, again, some exciting stuff, I guess, in the world of golf. At least people are talking about it. There's going to be a lot of different angles. And, until you've been in somebody's shoes, you really, especially from the golfing side, there are some guys that I'm sure it's hard enough to play this game, to practice all the things they do. I mean, these guys put in just countless hours, and they're hitting thousands and thousands of balls over their life just for if they ever get in that one moment, they get to hit that shot, right? Like that's
and the reality is they only make like 80% of their money in 5 starts.
Yeah,
and so you got to catch the dime right, and so that's why it's so rare to see continued success in this game.
Well, that is true. Tiger spoiled everybody because that is not how it is. And Scotty,
yeah,
I think Scotty sometimes might. We're gonna get into this in a minute. He might be like, hey, can I just be ordinary for like 3 days? Is that possible? But anyway.
Sorry, Scheffler.
So that's our Thursday wrap right now as far as TPC coverage. Hopefully by the time this gets out and posted, golf's still not over for the day. But I'd be willing to say the stroke average this afternoon, if they don't get rained out.
Yeah. Just saw a big band coming too. By the way, you got a little gap and then a band
with a gap because this isn't baseball, folks. We play in the rain. We don't play in lightning. So
I'll tell you a funny story real quick. We were on the range. I was on the range hitting some balls Saturday. Little sprinkle comes along, and you'd have thought ants scattered out of the hill. Somebody kicked the hill. And I'm just sitting down there like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this is nice. It's not 95. Little cool off.
I know. I'll be there tomorrow morning. I'm at TPC on site with a couple of my buddies from Lab Golf. Shout out. He said this is a 1-of-1 visor. So I wore it today. The guys at Lab, just awesome. They're just doing amazing things. And say what you want about the putter. Full disclosure, we're still trying to find one that my dumbass can use. I want to use one so bad, so it was fascinating having them watch me putt. But let me just tell you a little something we discussed, and then we'll get in this because it's not really about me, but it's kind of for those that listened last week. Which was basically saying your perfect putt is a heel knuckle draw because you loop it. So then I started to think about that, and I started putting. I started to think, what if I'm supposed to loop it, and when I'm trying to be perfect on my takeaway, that's when my putt gets bad, right?
Right.
Makes sense. So then I asked the Lab guy. I said, "There's a reason you have that little, what is it called, the clover on the back of the putter? It's rounded. Is that to?" I said, "It almost simulates like how my putting stroke is. It ends up where it needs to be, but I kind of loop it around." And he goes, "No, that's not why we did it, but that's interesting." Okay, so that's what he said.
Right.
So then I said, "So watch me putt." So he's watching me putt with their putter, with my putter, over and over and over again. And I basically said, I can't change my stroke. Like, I could say I'm going to, but you putt how you putt. And so instead of fighting against what I do, why don't I just embrace it? Because all that matters is that I start it where I want, correct? I mean, that's
Exactly.
basically what you told me. Like if I was, I mean, you don't want to see this video of when I putt, but what's funny is that the stroke looks awful, but I make like 8 in a row and it's dead center every time.
You do
So
the same thing. Billy Mayfair's not one to copy either, right?
never ever. And what's fascinating about this lab, and I'll get off this lab bucket because again, it's not for everybody, but it's worth trying. It's worth trying. I'll tell you that. I've seen
Always
people
got
that
it. Always
can't
got.
putt. It's a bit of a cheat code. I'm going to tell you, it's a bit of a cheat code. If you're about a 15, 25 handicapper and you put that in your hand, you'd be shocked. But it just goes to show that their brains are working. They're looking and saying, man, how you're not necessarily your right chip, but yeah, we're instead of building a putter that's based on Tiger Woods' stroke or whoever, Tiger Woods also hit a little draw with his putter, by the way. Why not say, show me your stroke, tell me when that feels good, and then maybe we can build something around that. So they're working on that. I can't wait to keep everybody updated because I know people are on the edge of their seats wondering how my putting is going.
That will be an interesting spring.
Yes, but before we get into this week's segment of Don't Be That Guy, we had a lot of great feedback from last week's Don't Be That Guy when we brought up the toddler zone. And it really caught on. And there's going to be some exciting things we do with some merchandise stickers and stuff with Toddler Zone because we found some really funny stuff and had a ton of responses. A ton, like maybe not 1 million, but close. More than one, less than 1 million people responded to me. And this week's, which was last week's Toddler Zone award goes to Justin Thomas. And I'm going to way to go, Justin. Congratulations.
Way to go, JT.
First winner. And here's why.
Your sticker's in the mail. GodBlessGolf.com. Shout out. You'll see it on there. You can find it on our links on the page. So check out GodBlessGolf.com. Again, like, subscribe. Do whatever you're supposed to do with the podcast.
All the
everybody.
But make us feel good.
Grab a couple stickers for your friends. They'll be coming out soon. And at the moment, you can tag your boys. So back to our winner this week, JT.
So JT, obviously this Toddler Zone thing is pretty funny. A lot of people are loving it. And, they asked JT a question and he was frustrated. And we said it before. We saw him on Thursday when we were out there. The guy's just had back surgery. The first tournament you're going to come back is Bay Hill. Like, that would be the last tournament I would. But, hey, he had to do it to get it out. He had to go do the things that he did to shoot 79. Let's be honest. Now, then they asked him the question, and he basically said, well, there's no reason for me to stay here because these greens are going to die. I feel sorry for all the players. And he was given a little rant. And that's all that it takes to get in the Toddler Zone because you didn't have to mention the greens at all. They have grass at Bay Hill. They have sand at Bay Hill. You want to practice hitting T-balls or hitting like fairways or hitting greens? The range is flat out there, JT. There's plenty of grass. I saw it being used. So I thought you got a little toddlerish there by saying there's no reason for me to practice here as if their range balls aren't good enough. Oh, and by the way, the greens are ruined. Had the greens been good, would you have shot 11 over instead of 14? I don't think so. Did you really need to mention the greens? No. And JT, we love you, by the way. And it was, but hey, we've all been there. And and then what's even funnier is that you showed up and then birdied the first 3 holes today at TPC. Shout out JT for multiple reasons. First winner of the Toddler Zone. And we'll see who is going to get it next week. And for those listening, feel free to comment on any ideas, any nominations. Hopefully we get a week where we have a couple more nominations. My guess is after today playing 17, and I'm not going to give it to Brendel Chambly because he's an ultimate toddler. There's going to be some people complaining, but yeah, shout out Justin Thomas. Way to go, bud. Way to go.
Yeah, bounce back king. Nice job. Your sticker's on the way, by the way.
Yeah, and JT, we love you. Roll Tide.
Absolutely.
All right. So as we move on, we are going into this week's segment of Don't Be That Guy. Currently not sponsored by anybody, so we can say whatever we want. So we've kind of went back and forth because obviously each week we're going to have to come up with a new show, and we're committed to at least do 50 weeks. So we're going to have a lot of Don't Be That Guys. But this week for sure, Don't Be That Guy. And this is going to carry over from a little bit of the banter with the crowds last week in Bay Hill. This week's Don't Be That Guy is the I'm going to yell mashed potato guy.
Mashed potato? Well, come on, guys.
Come on. One,
Come on.
For a fat guy like me, you start screaming mashed potatoes, I'm looking around, where are the mashed potatoes, right? I'm trying to stay away from mashed potatoes, dog. So, I mean, it would be like going to an AA meeting and screaming, vodka tonic. Like, you just don't do that, all right? And not to mention, what does that even mean? Not only did you think about it, that's premeditated. Like,
That's a
that'll
great
get you life in
question.
prison right there. Okay, hey, we're gonna go to
Origin
this
story.
tournament, and on the third hole, instead of yelling like great shot, I'm going to yell mashed potatoes, and everybody's going to look at me, and hopefully 2 people laugh, and I'm going to chuckle inside and run down the hill. All right, so here's for all of you guys listening, everybody listening to this podcast, when you're out at a golf course and someone hits a great shot, do you know what you yell? You yell, God bless golf.
Absolutely.
We are golfers. We love this game. I want to hear God bless golf after someone hits it, not before. These guys are out here playing a game that you wish you could play that good. Instead of screaming something stupid like mashed potatoes, scream God bless golf, because there's no other podcast out there. Are you going to scream subpar? No, nobody's screaming that. That would sound ridiculous, right? Or sleep, whatever all the other shows are. I don't even know what they're called.
Foreplay.
Yeah, there's four golfer, whatever, Rappaport, blah, blah, blah. You yell, God bless golf. This is my challenge to all you out there. It will catch on. And you know what? God bless golf is like saying God bless you when someone sneezes. It makes you feel good because God bless golf. God bless this game. We're here because we love this game. I know hating is becoming the new like fan favorite. Hate. I mean, some guy scored 83 points in a basketball game, and I don't even want to.
43.
I don't even care. I don't care. Like Wilt Chamberlain made like 39 free throws when he shot 100. Was it ridiculous? Maybe, but he still scored 83 points. I like Bam. I'm glad I didn't bet like his under the points.
Have you heard the Michael Beasley story about Bam?
Yeah, but
Michael Beasley's never lost in 1-on-1 except to one person.
Okay, right. But Michael Beasley is
to Bam Adebayo. That's the guy he lost to.
No, Bam. I mean, dude, the guy went to Kentucky. Okay, guy went to Kentucky for 1 year. Probably got some bad advice. Had he gone 2 years, he probably would have been a top 5 pick. But this is an NBA show. But we love Bam. But my point is, it seems like everybody's favorite thing to do, no matter what, is hate. Whether it's, and granted, we hate some stuff too. But it's not my favorite thing to do. Like if I see something that's ridiculous, I might hate on it. Okay, but I just think this desire. These guys are out here. Daniel Berger's out there trying to win a playoff. Okay, or he's trying to win a golf tournament. He's played his ass off all week. He's got Akshay coming at 100 miles an hour, pedal down, flagging stuff, making birdies. And then these guys I hear, and I wasn't there, but some people that were there said, dude, the stuff they were saying was so ridiculous. And I mean, I guess that's never going to change because they're just morons out there. But like, there's a lot of other words. Where we go to church, my pastor has a great saying. There's a lot of other words you can use than some of the words that you use. Okay. Now, is everybody got to be out there and say, hey, great shot, Daniel, blah, blah, blah. But you suck, don't choke, stuff like that, like you're at a Philadelphia Eagles game. Absolutely ridiculous. So for those that are listening that are that guy, quit being that guy. Think of something else to say. And if you don't know what to say God bless golf. I mean, it's super easy. But flat out call to action to all listeners. Send us
Don't be that guy.
Yeah, but send us your Don't Be That Guy stories. We'll roast the best ones. You got some good stories, man. We have no problem roasting anybody. We don't take ourselves that seriously. We both have thick skin. We both like talking a lot of shit, but we both can take it. So that's just the way it is.
The studio just blew away on the players.
Oh, you are nice. We just shambly get blown in the lake.
Sorry to cut you off right there.
Please tell me Brandel flew into the lake.
No, I mean, dude, it is just getting murdered right now.
Because according to Brandel, he wants to fill in that water with like trampoline effect. It'll put everything on the green, so none of these guys have to.
Oh my gosh! I mean, you should see what's going on right now. It is blowing 50 and raining sideways, and people are trying to run off the golf course. So God bless you if you're out there at Sawgrass right now. You're a true fan for sure.
God bless golf and all those people waiting on that bus ride back to St. John's Town Center. Man, that bus is going to stink.
Oh,
man.
A little booze and a little wet clothes, huh?
Just sweaty bourbon and wet rain. Man, oh, man. I miss the days. My mom used to have a condo across the street, and we could take the drop. There was golf cart parking, and you would just park your golf cart and look at everybody. It's kind of like when you're in the in the fast lane. Will Davenport, if you're listening, you know this. You're in the toll road, and in the other lane is like bumper to bumper and not moving. You're thinking like, y'all don't have $3 like to ride the toll. Like, what are you doing? But anyway, that's funny. So, all right, let's move on. Again, thank you everybody for listening, and we'll hopefully get this show out ASAP. And speaking of ASAP, we're going to go right into rapid fire this week. A very TPC based questionnaire, but first,
Love it.
and Richie, I'm going to ask you questions, and
All right.
let's see what you have to say.
All right. Let's go.
First off, who wins this week?
Who wins this week? Goodness gracious, who does win this week? You know, I'm not going to go far off the dock. I'm not going to go far off at all. Scotty gets it done. Yeah, Scotty gets it done. It's major season, right? It's time to get ready for Augusta. You get 2 weeks. Here we go.
Okay, Spice is going chalk. I love it. One major. If you had to win one major, which one would it be?
It's got to be the jacket.
Yeah,
Georgia boy.
I know. That's here. That's kind of okay. That's a dumb. I'm fine.
I just want to go for the dinner. Honestly, I just want to go for the dinner. I mean, if you ask me which one I'd want to beat my competitors at, I'd say the British, just because I love the, at St. Andrews specifically.
That's a good one.
But I want the dinner. I don't even, I don't want to win the. I don't want the. I love the trophy grit, but I want to be invited.
Okay. Would you take a successful year on the PGA Tour with no guarantee of what your future would be, or a 5-year deal with LIV?
5-year deal with LIV, and that goes back to what you said about the conglomerate of what will come. Right, at this current moment, it's all going to eventually come back. The best players in the world will be once again, and we'll be there.
Yeah. One last thing.
Absolutely, take the money.
Clearly, the guys that were advising the LIV players were way smarter than the PGA Tour.
Yeah, probably Scott Boras or something.
Okay, one more to go. Well, one more and then one more. March Madness bracket. March Madness is right around the corner. We're going to have a great show next week, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Chalk or chaos?
This is what's crazy is I was having this conversation the other day, and I won't go too long here because it's rapid fire, but it is chalk, chalk, chalk. I'm telling you, the death of the mid-major is real. I'm a mid-major guy. I obviously have been played my 1 minute and 36 seconds in the dance. At the end of the deal, thank you for the referee who called the timeout to get us in. But it's mid-NIL, man. I mean, it's too good. And whoever's hot right now is going to take it. And you look at teams like UConn, look at teams like Pitt, or look at teams like Michigan. Duke is so good. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see a battle of Titans. I personally love it when Final Fours are Florida, Michigan, Duke, and somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, so there's 3 or 4.
There you go. I hear you.
I still know some hoops.
Okay, so last question, but I'm going to preface it with, first, what is an average golfer considered someone that shoots 88 or 89? Is that considered an average, or is it more like 91, 92? Because I don't want to go by handicap.
Like in the spelling bee, can I get the definition of population? Are we taking America? Are we taking the world?
No, I think if the
10 rounds a year or 5 rounds a year,
someone says, okay, if I ask someone, do you play golf, and they say I'm about average, my thought would be they broke 90 at least once in their.
Not a chance.
So then the bad golfer thinks an average golfer shoots in the 90s. Okay, so let's just say that. We'll establish average golfer, according to God Bless Golf, is if you shoot 91. Not a handicap. You shoot 91, so 19 over par.
Agreed.
Average golfer shows up Sunday afternoon when the leaders are on 18 and tees off on number 1. What do they shoot?
Have you ever seen the video?
No practice round. No, I'm not. Yeah, no practice round. They show up in the parking lot, and while maybe like Rory and the guys are on 15, they're like, here, hit a bucket of balls. Then we're going to drive you over to number 1. You're going to play 18 holes, but you're putting everything out.
Could you imagine?
What are you? Oh God, that would be so great. But what are you going to shoot? What's that guy shooting at TPC? No,
I'd like to say this. By about hole, you've played it. I haven't played the stadium course. By about hole 7, this guy's going to be in the toddler zone, right? And by hole 12, he's going to tell somebody he's never played that bad. And by hole 16, he's going to be that guy, and he's going to come out at about a 131.
Okay, my first thought was 119. Okay. So you're close because the difference, because number 17, guy hits the green. Like, I just think of holes like 4. Yeah, 3. 1. Yeah, they're all hard actually. Even the easy holes are hard, and they're
I'll
only
take
easy
the over
because
on
these guys are
10 on
good.
17 too for this guy, whoever that is. Because once you hit 2 in the water, you're not going to the drop zone and pitching a 60-yard shot on Sunday.
Oh, no. Oh, God. I mean, you'd have to have how these guys in the Tour de France have like a Subaru behind them with extra bikes. You'd need like another cart with all this guy's golf balls. All right. So 119 average golfer. And also for those listening, if we're way off on the average golfer, or if you're offended by this, I'm sorry.
Please.
You can always practice though and get better. Just remember that you can always practice. And if you need any little tips or advice or something to make you feel good, shoot us a message. We're full of positive vibes around here. And although sometimes I might seem a little cranky and get in a toddler zone when it comes to other people's golf, I am all about them playing better. And whatever
Absolutely.
better means, whatever. It doesn't mean I'm not turning you into a tour player, but you will play better. I mean, again, next week, we are going to hopefully get this show done on the day we decide. We are going to do a deep dive into what happened at the TPC, and then literally every degenerate's favorite week of the year, the NCAA tournament. I don't know the exact number of games in that first week, but there's a bunch, and there's just nothing better than thinking you've watched 6 seconds of basketball all year, and all of a sudden now 128 teams break down, or what's the 68 teams now?
Yeah, I think it's 68, 64 in the dance.
Yeah, any closing comments, Spice, anything you'd like to add before we say goodbye to everybody and wish them a good week?
Oh, just as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this, whatever it is, unsolicited advice and angles on what is our world. And like we always say, like, subscribe, do what you're supposed to do with the podcast, hop on the website. And if you need some stickers for your boys, and do you a favor, get a few sticker and tag your boys, take a picture, send it to us, and we'll repost it ourselves.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, reach out. If you're ever in Orlando, we'll go tee it up. And just remember, sometimes you don't hit it where you want. You just keep walking straight. You'll eventually get to the ball. And just enjoy yourself out there. If you are playing golf this weekend, shoot us some notes of where you are, send some pictures. The weather is 50-50 around here. And we are getting to the time of year where most people are ready to hit golf balls. I'm afraid to tell you, people up north, you're probably going to have a rough week next week. It's supposed to be chilly down here all week. Makes no sense to me, but what do I know about weather? With that being said, thank you, everybody. Spice, love you, buddy. I think I'm going to see your parents tomorrow.
Possibly out on the grounds. Granddad Pop's out there.
That's right. God bless golf, everybody. Talk to you soon.
See you, buddy.
Yeah.